15 love.
Welcome to the Service Game, where we serve you and serve starts the story. I'm your host, Ivy Jane. And in today's episode, I'll be talking about the second week at this year's French Open, as well as the winners for both the women's and men's singles event. So yeah, let's get right into our first segment, the toss. The segment where we talk about news surrounding tennis that's not necessarily happening on the court. So the main news definitely that I want to discuss is Serena Williams' comeback. She announced on social media over the past week that she will be coming back for the Queen's Championship Club Tournament, and the 23rd time Grand Slam champion will make her comeback in the doubles draw alongside the 19th-year-old Canadian Victoria Mboko, and the HSBC, which is the Queen's Club Championship, is actually taking place right after Roland Garros. And if you guys want to read just more in depth about her, there was an interview done on The Athletic. I will leave a link to the article that I got all my sources from. But according to her, she does not eliminate the chances of a singles return. And yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's just a really interesting thing to see, because I know over the past season we've got the news that she re-entered the testing field, because in order to be like an actual player you have to re-enter the field to get your drug, like to get tested if you've taken any substances or not, and she entered that field last year, so there was a lot of speculations surrounding that, and she sort of put the rumor to rest, but now it turns out that she's actually coming back. I don't know just how seriously she's going to take the comeback, but I'm really excited to see how she'll play after taking like 2 or 3 years of rest from tennis. So yeah.
C'est le match. Zverev. 3 manches à 2. 6-5, 4-6. 6-4, 6-7, 6-1.
And that is the sound of Alexander Zverev, who fell to the ground after winning his first ever Grand Slam. So yeah, this was a really emotional win for him, just because he's been chasing for his first Grand Slam for such a long time now, and he's always just been the player that's behind the big four, behind the big two, but this Grand Slam, I think, on both the women's and the men's side is just marked with, it's like, hence the title of my episode, it's called the Chaotic Slam for a reason. I mean, Alcaraz pulled out before the tournament started. Sinner fell down to the heat at the first 3 or 4 days of the event. I talked about the heat extensively in my last episode, but actually since then, it hasn't been as bad. The first week was definitely really bad, but the second week got relatively better. And Djokovic also fell to Fonseca, so Zverev kind of just became the expected winner, and I think a lot of times it's more mental, but really praises to him to stand up to that mental test. But before we talk about the final, I want to talk about the semifinals. So the first one being Arnaldi versus Fabio Cobolli. Really, I was looking forward to this all-Italian semifinal, but at the last minute, Arnaldi withdrew due to a virus. He said that leading up, he was throwing up all day and he was not feeling well at all. And even in the quarterfinals, we saw Matteo Berrettini, who also withdrew after being a set and a few games down. And I think the one thing that really just confused me was that Cobolli and Arnaldi did a joint press conference. They went into one room and they sat at opposite ends of the table while doing a press conference, which just doesn't make any sense to me, because we're at the end of this event, so why can't they just have different times of the tournament of doing their press conference, because right now they're just playing, like, the tournament is putting both players at risk, especially Cobolli, who has a final to play. So yeah, that was just really weird. And also the ticket holders, since both semifinals are sold separately, they got their refund, but it's just really sad that they did not get to watch the tennis. And in terms of the other semifinal, we got Zverev, who defeated Jakub Mensik with a score of 7-5, 6-2, 3-6, and 6-3. I think Mensik really used his drop shots effectively, but Zverev just overall had a stronger baseline game. Like, his backhand and forehand was significantly stronger, and I think where Mensik fell short was definitely his forehand. I mean, I think the first set was really important, and I feel like the first set definitely set the tone for this entire match. And after Mensik lost the first set in that fashion, it was a really tight first set. I think Zverev basically had it in the bag. And now we'll talk about the finals. So the finals was again between number 2 seed Alexander Zverev and the number 10 seed Fabio Cobolli, with Zverev winning 6-1, 4-6, 6-4, 6-7, and 6-1. I think what really made this match sort of a winnable match for Zverev is his ability to capitalize on his first serve. In the fifth set, he had 15th first serve in a row, and I think that really helped him to seal the deal with winning the fifth set. And also, I think in a way, Cobolli played an incredibly well fourth set, and also he played an incredibly well second set and a really great fourth set tiebreak. And I think that almost took everything out of him. I wouldn't necessarily say physically. I mean, definitely physical is a part of this, because he's not used to, unlike Zverev, he's not used to playing this much tennis, this best of 5 tennis, because he's so young, whereas Zverev has played and have been in this environment before. But at the same time, I think it's also mental, because it just requires a lot of concentration in tennis to go that far and to win these tight games. I think in the end, he kind of just ran out of steam, both mentally and physically. But I also do want to give props to Zverev, because I think after Djokovic and Sinner losing, he was the favorite to win. And most times, I think, especially for him, his biggest opponent is himself when he's the favorite. And for him to sort of meet up to that expectation and rise up to win his first Grand Slam title is a pretty remarkable thing for him to do, especially.
She's got it. Mirra Andreeva is the Roland Garros champion. Still a teenager, but she has been working for this moment for years. She returned to the clay stronger and steadier than ever before. And she's done it. Andreeva! The prodigy fulfills her destiny.
And that is the sound of Mirra Andreeva, who won her first Grand Slam title after defeating qualifier Maja Chwalinska. How do we get here? Let's talk about the 2 semifinals. The first one being the qualifier Maja Chwalinska, who defeated Diana Schneider 7-6, 6-4. So this was actually a really interesting semifinal. I actually really liked this match. There was a lot of really good rallies, and I think Schneider really stood out because she defeated Sabalenka in the quarterfinals, and that match was just, I think, Sabalenka choking in the end. Like, she was bageled in the deciding set, and obviously that match, the condition was there was a lot of wind, and Schneider definitely was in a way almost more calm, and Sabalenka kind of just gave out. She almost in a way she gave up. And I think coming in, I expected Schneider to win just because, I mean, from the way Chwalinska plays, which is a lot of loopy balls and annoying the opponent, I thought that if Schneider was able to get through Sabalenka, it won't be a problem. But actually, I think just the way that Chwalinska played, also because like she's a qualifier, there isn't that many footage of her playing, that a lot of these players, they don't really know what to do against a game like hers just because it's really unique. And because both players aren't necessarily baseline ball strikers, it was an entertaining match because both of them, there were just a lot of great rallies. Whereas the second semifinal, the number 8 seed Mirra Andreeva, who defeated the number 15 seed Marta Kostyuk 6-1, 6-3, I thought this would be a really entertaining match because Kostyuk defeated Svitolina and Swiatek before meeting with Andreeva. But this is also Mirra's, like, she's never beaten Kostyuk before, and this is their third time meeting. But I think Kostyuk kind of ran out of steam, and also she just really struggled with her serve and keeping her forehand in the court. She definitely struggled with the win, but I think Andreeva just looked so composed, and this definitely was just such a different reaction from her compared to last year, where she did play against the French player Louis Boisson. The entire crowd was against her and she had a horrible meltdown. But I think just comparing her to semifinal performance, we can see how far she's grown despite being only 19 years old. And that also, I think, demonstrated itself in the final, when Andreeva defeated Chwalinska with a score of 6-3 and 6-2. I think at first it was a pretty tight match, but in the end, I think when Andreeva found her level, she was just significantly more experienced and more skilled. I think, however, this is definitely life-changing for both of them. Maja made almost twice as much money in this tournament run, which is 1.4 million, than in her first 9 years as a pro combined. And for Mirra, of course, she's only 19 and now she's number 1 in the race. She's just found her rhythm. And I had her, she was a contender for me to win this Grand Slam, but with her, I think it was never the tennis. Like, her tennis is always there. I think it's more of a mental thing. And I think the Linz Open that she won a few months back helped her a lot, since her head coach, Cochino Martinez, was not there, and she kind of had to figure out a way to deal with these problems on her own, and she definitely, I think, grew a lot from that. And I also want to mention that Conchita Martinez is also the first female head coach to lead 2 female players to win Grand Slams, which is an incredible effort. Like, she led Gabin Muguruza and now Mirra Andreeva. And in terms of Maja, I mean, she's been on the tour for a long time, and I think she has a pretty solid outlook on her tennis. And I don't know if she can necessarily keep this level up, meaning like reaching Grand Slam finals, but I think we will be seeing her more and more. Also, we don't know if she will get a wild card to Wimbledon, but she said that if she doesn't, she will still embrace the challenge, which I think is a great mindset. Okay, welcome to the follow-through. This is where we preview the matches happening next week. So now that the clay season's completely done, for the men's side, we have Stuttgart, which features Ben Shelton, Bublik, and Taylor Fritz as the defending champion. We also have Libema, which features FAA, Deminor, and Medvedev. They're both 250s. But starting the week of June 15th, we have the Queen's Club, whereas on the women's side, it actually starts next week on the 8th. So the day you're listening, and we have the defending champion Dahana Maria. Really excited to see her play. I feel like that was her standout tournament from last year, but we haven't heard much from her since. Also, Serena's returning. So yeah, that's all. I can't wait to just go into the grass season. I feel like this clay court season felt really long, and there was a lot of things that happened. And yeah, maybe just comment down your favorite thing that happened in this year's clay court season, and I'll make sure to read them all. Thank you so much for listening. Please rate this show if you're listening on Spotify. Subscribe if you're listening on YouTube. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Let the serves continue.